So can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. So I'm gonna be doing the call again tonight. It's gonna be pretty short. I'm just gonna be going over a few pairs, and then I'm gonna be going over 2 trades that I took last week that I just want to break down for you guys. And so the call won't be super long. So let me go ahead and share my screen really fast. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
Mike.
we can see you. We got you.
All right, perfect. All right, so here I'm gonna go over gold, and I'm gonna explain gold, because gold is really interesting right now. So I'm gonna really break it down for you guys so you guys know what to expect for this week. So let me go to the higher time frame. So if we can see here, gold is pretty much in this overall downtrend structure here. As you can see, we're making lower lows and lower highs all the way on this 4-hour structure. But currently, right now, we are currently sitting on a weekly foundation level. So you all know that a weekly foundation level means consolidation. And you can see here, we pretty much just been bouncing in this area between these lows right here and these highs right here. But currently, like I said, we are in this consolidating area. So it's one thing when you're in a consolidating area, you always want to make sure you pay attention to close detail to what price is actually doing. Since we're not actually looking to be trending right now, since we're at this weekly foundation level, I'm pretty skeptical on gold right now because it can go one or two ways, right? So I have gold expecting to buy, but there's still a possibility that gold can push down to this negative 27 TP on based off of this overall fib structure right here. And then push down to the negative 27 TP. But the only reason why that I'm looking for a potential buy is because one, we hit this minor structure. You guys mute your mics for me, please. All right, so we are at this negative 61.8 TP based off of this structure right here. Let me go ahead and draw it out. So we had this overall impulse correction, and then we got this continuation. So we then hit this negative 61.8 TP. And then as you can see, we're starting to form a little bit of divergence on a 15-minute time frame. So since we're forming that divergence and we already hit this negative 61.8 TP, that lets me know that we could potentially reverse. But the only reason that we could potentially see price still go down is because we're still in this overall 4-hour structure downtrend. But like I said, I'm looking for a buy, but as we all know that we do not control the market. So if price decides that it doesn't want to do this and then continue pushing down, then the other play that you will be looking for is just a break and a retest of this support to then carry down to this negative 27. But like I said, we're in this consolidation area since we are at this weekly structure level. So you always have to make sure you wait on confirmation before you actually make a decision on where the actual market is about to go. Does that make sense to everybody?
Clear.
All right, perfect. Does anybody have any questions about gold? All right, perfect. So now let's go over to NAS. So for NAS here, first I'm going to break down 2 of the trades that I took last week, and then I'm going to go into what to expect for this overall week here. So last week at NAS, we were sitting around this level, and then price came up and hit this negative 61.8 TP up here. If you guys can see, let me put this fib and make it a little bit better. I'm gonna make it thick so y'all can see it. So here we have this overall structure on NAS based off of this fib right here in the red, this impulse, this correction, then price continued, then corrected, and then eventually hit this negative 61.8, right? So that was our overall 1-hour structure for that fib. Once we hit that negative 61.8 TP, we then began to see a little bit of divergence starting to form here. And this is where this arrow, the market is going up. and then the RSI is going down. So that was one indication that we were looking for a price to potentially revert. And then also on a smaller time frame, such as 15-minute, we also had divergence here and then divergence right there. So that was one indication that the market was going to revert. So once price hit that negative 61.8, that was also a 4-hour structure high here. So we can see that this last green dot here was my last 4-hour structure lower high point. So we never surpassed that level. So that let me know, okay, we're not necessarily breaking structure yet. So there's a high probability chance that price could then push down from that area. So once price broke and retested this trend line here, I'm going to make it yellow. We broke, came back to retest. That was my first entry for the sell. And then after we broke this purple trend line here, broke, came back to retest. That was my second entry. And then I carried that down to this negative 27 TP. And then I pulled profit. But then as you can see, the market still decided to continue pushing down, which is perfectly fine. Ultimately, I had price going to this negative 61.8, but news came out right on this date. It was like it came out at 7:30. So I didn't want to even risk the market pulling back all the way back up here just to then go down. So I pulled my profits right before the market, the news came out at 7:30, and then it pushed price all the way down from there. So once price pushed down from there, then we began to have a buy scenario here. Once price touched this overall black trend line and respected it multiple times. And then we also had this overall level here of resistance / support. If we just draw this kind of zone right here. So this whole area of resistance and support, price began to bounce off of that level. So once I started to see price start to form that level of support there, I then drew a minor structured trend line, which is just on a 5-minute time frame, and had a point A to point B for this fib. So we can see here that we then broke this purple trend line with just a minor structure. We broke it, came back to retest it, and then we end up pushing up. So once we broke and retested this position here, my initial position right here got stopped out due to the news wick when it came back and retested this trend line. But then once we got another impulse followed by this correction that retested this level of resistance, I then entered another buy position and I carried it up to a little bit past the negative 27. And then price eventually kept pushing and was very, very bullish to end the week. So does anybody have any questions about any of those two trades? Everybody good? All right, perfect. So that leads us to where we are right now. So whenever you guys have like a big impulse move to end the week, oftentimes the market begins to like either have its pullback or have a period of consolidation. So since we had this big old impulse, we already know what comes next is our correction. So I'm looking for price to then pull back, but I'll have it coming here and I need to see what price does once price gets to this level of support that was right here. I need to see what price does once it gets to this area. If it's going to respect, then we could then potentially look for price to then continue bullish. But if not, then we could look for a price to then break beneath this level, retest, and then carry this down to this overall trend line right here. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, thank you.
All right, perfect. Now, of course, since this did end super bullish, if we do happen to break above this level of resistance right here on this 4-hour structure, this green zone that I have here, then I'll be looking for a price to then continue up and hit this negative 61.8 TP. But we already hit this negative 27 TP on this fib and we only pulled back to this 50% level. So I'm not too sure about if price is going to go to this negative 61.8, but this is one of those scenarios where you kind of just got to wait for more data so that you can pretty much understand what the market is doing. Like I talked about this on the last call that I did. The last time I was on here, you never want to just rush into the trade just because like the market is open. Like sometimes you have to have a little bit more data to be solidified to know exactly where price is going. So right now, this is just the right now money. We're looking for price to pull back down to the zone, and that's about almost 90 points. So that's a decent move to the zone, and then we need to see what price does from there. Does that make sense, everybody?
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody got questions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. All right, so now let me go to Euro USD. So for Euro USD, honestly, really don't even trade Euro USD like that, but I just want to give you guys an extra pair, just so you guys, it just wouldn't be like a NAS and a gold, because I know a lot of you guys trade like FOREX pairs as well. So for Euro USD, I have this fib structure here, this point A to point B, price pulled back to 78.6. We almost hit this negative 27 TP, but we haven't hit it quite yet. And then on the smaller time frames, we can see we're starting to form this overall divergence structure here. So we kind of need to see if price is going to break out of this divergence structure retest. And then if we do get that break and retest, then we'll be looking to carry it to this overall negative 27 TP. But like Jess talks about all the time, you always want to wait for a price to finish diverging before you look to take this up or about. Like price could easily do something like this and continue pushing down, and then eventually get the break and the retest to go higher. Does that make sense to everybody?
Copy. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So like I said, just wait on that break and the retest. If you never get the break and the retest, then you simply don't take this trade without full confirmations, because honestly, like you just gotta wait for the market to give you a valid reason to actually be inside of the market, and that's how you don't lose trades. It's simply just waiting on your confirmation. So does anybody have any questions about any of the pairs that I went over so far?
I have a question, going back to the NAS 100. You had mentioned that prior to the last winning trade, you were in a trade that got stopped out, right?
Right.
One of the challenges I'm having is properly establishing my stop losses. So I'm just curious what your stop loss was and how you established that stop loss.
Yeah, so this trade was completely on me. The reason why I lost this is because I didn't have my stop loss beneath the structure. So as you can see here, the structure lows is right here, but I just wanted to place a larger lot sizes. So I went on the smaller time frames, and then I placed my stop loss beneath the smaller time frame structure. So you can see here, these were the structure lows on this 5-minute time frame. So I placed my stop loss just beneath the 5-minute structure since I was entering on this 5-minute time frame. But then of course, once the news came out, we could see we had this huge wick that was about, this was a 150 point wick candle here. So the news went ahead and stopped me out. But ultimately, when you're looking for your stop losses, you always just want to base it off of the structure that you're on. So in this case, my stop loss should have been beneath this structure lows or even here, but since it's NAS, I always like to have like super tight stop losses, since the volatility of this pair is super like large. I never want to have like 200 point stop losses, and that sometimes that's what it would take in regards to structure. So in this case, I had a smaller 26 point stop loss, but ultimately it should have been down here, which would have been 60 point stop loss. But like I said, I had a bigger lot size on that, so I had a stop loss super tight. But it's
So
not
basically, overall, if there was no news,
you said what?
if there was no news that had came out, your analysis would, the wick was from news, basically. But it's correct.
This came out at 7:30 Central Time. So once of course, when the news hits, sometimes you will get that wick, but that just comes with it. But I understood where the market was going based off of what the confirmations already had. We just kind of got wicked out. But once I got that bullish candle, and then on this 5-minute time frame, I see we had like 3 straight bullish candles. Then that let me know, okay, now it's okay to enter the market and carry it up to the negative 27. Then once price got to negative 27, I had moved my stop loss at break even, and then we started to push up, and then we started to retrace. So I went ahead and pulled it because I wasn't about to sit through the market on a Friday, especially when I already had my weekly go. So that's
okay. So you caught another entry.
Yeah, that's the green. This green one is where I popped the second entry. The blue one was the first one I got stopped out, but the second one was the green.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Does anybody else have any questions?
Mike, can you go over the explain?
Sorry, I barely can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay, great. Can you go over DXY?
DXY, yeah.
Thank you.
So the DXY here, I'm still eager to see if we're gonna hit this negative 27 TP based off of this fib right here. We made this new low, we broke this structure low here and starting to pull back. But ultimately, I haven't fully marked this up, so I can't give you like a full top-down analysis. But based off of this fib structure that I have on here, I will be looking for price to then push down to this negative 27, and that will be in alignment to the gold buys that I have right here, as long as we can push above this zone. But like I said, gold is in the overall downtrend structure, so we could still see price potentially push down. And same thing with DXY. The DXY is still in this overall higher uptrend structure, so we could easily still see the DXY push up and come up to this green trend line, because this was a trend line that got broken and never came back to get retested. So we just need a little bit more data to solidify that, to solidify what direction we're pretty much gonna go in. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mike, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so just to reiterate, gold, as long as we break and retest this area here, this consolidating area, we'll be looking for the buy up to this little purple zone here, and then we need to see what price does. But of course, if price breaks beneath this purple zone right here, then we know it's going to the negative 27. But we in this weekly consolidation level, so we just understand that we could be consolidating in this area for a little while. NAS here, we pretty much almost already planned out. We got price coming to this purple zone. Once price reaches that purple zone, we need to see if we have rejections at this area, or if we break through, retest, and then we'll be looking to come down to this 1 hour trend line. But we have to take it step by step. We never want to look too far into the market, especially after the market has a big impulse like this. We already know a correction comes, so we just need a little bit more solidified data to then see where price is going to go next. And then for Euro USD, as long as we maintain and break out of this divergent structure here, we look for the break and retest, and we'll be looking to carry this over to that negative 27 TP. Make sense to everybody?
Yes,
Yes,
makes
so
sense.
far.
Perfect. So that would be it. I know this was a super short call, but like I said, I just want to go over those few pairs. Jessica should be on next week, hopefully. But she will let you guys know in the group chat. And then if so, I will see you guys next week.